And we're in line 27. They performed his signs among them and wonders in the land of Ham. And so that sends us to Psalm 78:43. That says, when he worked his signs in Egypt, and his wonders in the field of Zon. And so that just to corroborate, that scripture right there. So when he worked his signs in Egypt, who worked? God worked. And his wonders in the field of Zon. And then and they go ahead and it started going on and explaining what God did too as well in there with the plagues and whatnot. And so 28, he's sitting back in Psalm 105. He sent darkness and made it dark, and they did not rebel against his word. So he sent the darkness and made it dark, and they didn't go against that. All right. You can't. But look at this one, 29. He turned their waters into blood and killed their fish. And so that sends us to Exodus 7, 20 and 21. That says, and Moses and Aaron did so, just as the Lord commanded. So he lifted up the rod and struck the waters that were in the river, in the sight of Pharaoh, and in the sight of his servants. And all the waters that were in the river were turned to blood. 21. The fish that were in the river died, the river stank, and the Egyptians could not drink the water of the river. So there was blood throughout all the land of Egypt. All right, so we can't play around with God. You can't play around with God. God is who he is. He's God. And remember, God keeps his promises. He said he was going to do it. He did it. Who wouldn't serve a God like God? He's a man of his word. That's a God I love. And whether it's good to me or bad to me, God is God of his word, and I love God. He's a God of his word. I love a man who keeps his word. I have met mine who didn't. That's why I just rely on God, because I know he'll never leave me nor forsake me, and he will always keep his word, always keep his promises. Whew. So thankful he's not like man. 30. Their land abounded with frogs, even in the chambers of their kings. And so, and that sends us to Exodus 8:6. And notice how we keep going back to Exodus, because that's just corroborate what the psalmist is saying about what happened, about God, how giving us examples of how God keeps his promise. Remember, we have to go back and see the wonders and the mighty acts of God. Exodus 8:6. So Aaron stretched out his hand over the waters of Egypt, and the frogs came up and covered the land of Egypt. And so, and that's another plague. Another plague. So their land abounded with frogs, even in the chambers of their kings. They frogs all over the place. Oh, if they would have come to Louisiana, them things would have been in a pot. 31. He spoke, and there came swarms of flies and lice in all their territory. Now for me, I don't eat no frogs. I don't eat no type of frogs. I don't even like frogs, to tell you the truth. Now, did God creation and stuff like that? I frog legs, frog nothing. He spoke, and there came swarms of flies. I don't like them either. And lice in all their territory. So another corroboration sends us to Exodus 8:16 and 17. So the Lord said to Moses, say to Aaron, stretch out your rod and strike the dust of the land so that it may become lice or gnats. So it could be gnats throughout all the land of Egypt. And so that's what happened there as well. And then 17, and they did so, for Aaron stretched out his hand with his rod and struck the dust of the earth, and it became lice on man and beast. All the dust of the land became lice throughout all the land of Egypt. And that's no fun thing right there. Okay, and 32. He gave them hail for rain and flaming fire in their land. And so that sends us to Exodus 9, 23 to 25. That says, and Moses stretched out his rod toward heaven, and the Lord sent thunder and hail, and fire darted to the ground, and the Lord rained hail on the land of Egypt. So there was hail, and the fire mingled with the hail, so very heavy that there was none like it in all the land of Egypt since it became a nation. And the hail struck throughout the whole land of Egypt all that was in the field, both man and beast. And the hail struck every herb of the field and broke every tree of the field. God is powerful. God is powerful. I don't know who think they're big and bad to go against God. Not me. Not me. And so let's go ahead and pause here, and then we'll pick it up in our next segment.